when the Wi-Fi went down, it just didn't save it. It disappeared, and I think people were also wondering what happened to us, and they're not here because let me teach you something. You see, now there's one person who's come in. Can you see? Yes, we have one person who's come in. Yes, because we did set a time for people to say we're gonna do 9. So now the 6 people are coming in. So tribe members are coming in. We lost connection. Oh, now we jumped to 19. So there's quite a lot of people. There's now 25. Oh, yes, you got cut off. Hi, we back. Yes. I think it was network. We got cut off, and it doesn't look like that video is saved. Who did my consultation this at 3 p.m. I don't know who they're talking about. We are back. Yes, we are back. I don't know who you're talking about that they did your, Thursday. I don't know what you're asking. Tozani, welcome back, tribe. Welcome back. I hope, I don't know, we can't find the first earlier video. I mean, I remember just hearing Mkhulu speak about how powerful that was. But let's, it is saved. So you can see it on your side. Okay, great. Yeah. Are you sure it's saved? Somebody can see that it's saved. Maybe I'm not seeing it on my channel yet. But they're saying it is safe. If it is safe, it's brilliant. So we can actually go straight. The first half is still up. Okay, that's great. So we'll just look for it then and save it properly. If it's safe, it is saved. Oh, great. Oh.
Then you have to stop being distracted now.
No, I wasn't distracted. I was looking for the I was looking for that because it's Bella. If it wasn't saved, it meant we needed to start again to save it. So let's just go straight to the questions because I think we set. So this can be a Q&A on the power of names. So
yeah, and just the last point, Gilon. We need to be careful when we are naming abantwana ngamagama abantu asebadlula. Why? Ngoba kunesimo, it's an African thing ekhona, especially ngathi landelelwa by the Ngunis. The Ngunis is mengabe ngizonema umntwana ngegama laka Mkhulu and ngilicele bese ngiyenza yonke ilona fanele ngilicele ngenze yonke imisebenzi ekufanele iyenzelwe. Kodwa we also need to be careful ukuthi mengabe uma wakhe umntwana akhula akumelanga mbize ngalelo gama. Shothi angeke abe negama elilodwa, uzoba namagama mhlamba ayi2 or ayi3. Ngoba uma wakhe mekambiza ngalelo gama kuyosho ukuthi ubiza umkhulu wala ekhaya ngegama. Uyayibona lento le. Then uyobizwa ngelinye igama, kodwa mase ngabe kwenziwa imisebenzi kwenziwani kwenzelwa lo mntwana, umuntu omdala wala ekhaya uyohamba ecela ukuthi bantu abadala siyazi ukuthi umntwana wanikwa igama lika Mkhulu, wena Mkhulu usibanibani, senzela ke leyo ngane usibanibani, asikubizi ngegama ngoba sikudelela kodwa simbiza ngegama lo mntwana ukuze nazi ukuthi umsebenzi uqondene nobani. Ngokuthini inhlonipho into enkulu kubantu abadala, into enkulu kubantu abantu abamnyama kakhulu, ukuthi abantu abadala sibabize ngamagama. Angeke ngifike ekhaya sengibiza usibanibani ngibiza ngegama ngithi ubanibani. Uyabona, yingakho nesinye isikhathi kuye kuthiwa kunokusisi wayehlala ejardini lethu, ubaba ezala wakhe kwakuthiwa ushukela. Then ke mase kabuye ekhaya kaganile wabuya bebangasasebenzisa igama ushukela kodwa wayesebenzisa igama ethi unobozo. Uyabona, mekazofuna ushukela or mekacela ukuthi ayothengela ushukela akasabizi ngoba usaba ukubiza umkhulu ngegama ngoba kubonisa ini indelelo kumuntu omdala. yizi izinto lezo ezinye kufanele sizibheke ukuthi unike umntwana igama lakamkhulu, ngoba ngesinye isikhathi kuthola ukuthi umkhulu wayemdala owayephethe lo muzi, mawulibele umbiza uyamthukuthelisa leyo mntwana. And the other thing is, lo mntwana menimnike igama likamkhulu, kuba nzima ukuthi kusasa umshaye lo mntwana. Ngani? Ngoba mawushaya lo mntwana kusho ukuthi ushaya lo mkhulu. And-ke angithi siyazi ukuthi kwisimo sase-Afrika asiphakamiseli abantu abadala izandla. Then-ke kuyofanele ukuthi nanoma kwenzekeleni akukwatisile enzeni, umuntu oyomdisciplina ngokuthi khuluma naye, umbonise ulona. Yizi izinto ezihamba ngesinye isikhathi zisenzele ngathi amasho noma yini, ngokuthini senza izinto singazizwisisi bese kugcineni kuzothiwa cha ngoba wena washaya umuntu ngimangala ukuthi umntwana wami kufanele ngimdiscipline, kanti manje ngithi wena sokuba ngathi usushaya umuntu omdala. Ingakho kufanele sibe very careful, even kumakhaya, kunamakhaya kuthiwa fanele lihlale igama likasibanibani libe khona, kodwa fanele simeke sure ukuthi siyazwisisa ukuthi lo mntwana usemodela ini umkhulu noma usemodela ugogo wala ekhaya. Then ugogo wala ekhaya kuyofanele ukuthi kuhambe kuhlonishwe phezu kwaleyo ngane leyo ngoba uvuselela umuntu omdala wala ekhaya.
And asabashaya abantwana, it's 2021. We have other ways of disciplining kids. You know, there's time out, take out privileges. It's not only in Zulu, even Ekaya, in my culture. My mother is named after her great-grandmother. So when my grandfather used to speak to her, she would always call her Koko. She never called my mother by her name because she'd always say Koko. And it was very hard, like you are saying, to discipline my mother because whatever form of discipline would be very difficult for my grandfather to instill, because it would be like he is disrespecting his grandmother. So that's why it's really important that you think through before you name a child and don't just be excited. And I think some of us we're like, oh yeah, no, we want the children to carry the legacy of their grandparents or the legacy of my father, you know, or Abu Banban Junior. Those things are not, Junior Banban and Senior Banban are not how we did things. There would be names in which we name kids because we don't want them to also just be a duplicate of somebody else. We don't want them to carry weight of those who've lived before them. So thoughtfulness is very important, and like we said earlier on, the rituals that get performed are also very important because they make sure that the alignment is done in such a way that whatever name that you're giving your child, does serve its purpose. But because we've also lost certain rituals, be careful of also just giving another name, because you might be giving another name and there might be 3 extra rituals that are required that your own family has forgotten because they've lost their traditions and their ways. So yes, and it is okay because when one also conceives, there are rituals when the mother is conceiving that needs to be performed to ask for guidance in terms of what is this gift bringing to us? What are you gifting us in this new life that is forming in its mother's womb before the child will also be named? So thoughtfulness and intentionality is very important in naming children. So we're going to open up for
Questions.
Yes. Tasha was saying that they wish they learned Isiswati because they like it that you teach in Zulu because they can learn. Yes. So you can bring the questions forward. Remember to subscribe, put notifications on. Like we said in the previous video, we are going to be moving the Thursday teachings to here because it is easy to save. You see, like if Instagram, we lost connection on Instagram, we would have lost the video. But on YouTube, we didn't. It saves it automatically. So that's the beauty of YouTube. And YouTube is also easy for it to be shared via email, via WhatsApp, via all sorts of things. Whereas Instagram, sometimes it's quite difficult. So we will use Instagram for your dreams, because we do want to see people that we are talking to. So we are open for questions in terms of naming. So any questions you have regarding naming, we did speak about some of the rituals. So now it is your platform. And also you can share with us the name you have and what you think it means. And who gifted you that name, or is there a story? Because as you heard, there's a story behind the name. So Lindy was Kosana's asking, so Coco, how do we go about the name thing if the father's side, they don't believe in African spirituality? Singamenzela ekhaya. Okay. I think ukhuluma ngembeleko yomntwana. Right? Lindiwe. So and then Utapelo says Togoza. Okay, we need to make sure this stays. Okay, is it solid? Okay. Okay, we need to. I'm pulling up the questions. Togoza, what about adopted children? Gamu is asking Togoza Koko no Mkhulu. Please touch more on how to root a child born out of wedlock. Thanks for this. I recently lost my mom, and I promised myself to name my child after her. Togoza Mkhulu. Oh, that's Mkhulu Tsep.
Thokoza Kehle, thokoza.
What does Garanga mean? But I don't know what you mean Garanga means. Togoza. Yes, the child was given the grandfather's name by me, and the father and the grandfather have passed on. Okay. I'm going to have Mkhulu respond to the first few of the questions. How do you reach a child who's born out of wedlock? Sibenzela kanjani umsebenzi?
Thokoza. Into yokuqala ekufanele sibheke ukuthi amasiko ethu ahamba kanjani ekhaya, because it's not into eyodwa ifaka wonke umuntu, uyabo. Izinto ezinye ziba specifically for ikhaya nekhaya, and singakhuluma nje general ukuthi singenze njani senze njani, and even out of wedlock kuye kusho ukuthi okay, ngabe nisase together, ngabe senahlukana and all that, ngoba so many things comes into play that also isinika a direction ukuthi mhlawumbe is out of wedlock ngoba sathi mesithola umntwana sahlukana, or sathi mesithola umntwana wamphika kwenzakalani. Uyayibona lento le, zonke lezo zinto they come into play ukuthi okay, abanye bathini bamtholile umntwana kodwa ba together, then insebenzo zakhona ziyahluka. Ngizozama ukuthi ngizifake zonke insebenzo ukuthi ngabe kwenziwa njani, but also ngicela nikhumbule ukuthi akufani for everybody. Umuntu nomuntu kufanele ayithole izinto zakubo ukuthi thina ekhaya senzani. This is just a general knowledge. Okay, mengabe umntwana utholakale singashadanga and all that, uye umntwana into zokuqala ezenziwa ukuthi kuye kuhlawule, njengoba besishilo ukuthi kuye kuhlawule ukuthi okay, umntwana nangu sekhona uhlawuliwe. Mengabe ubaba umvumile, uyahlawula bese ke lo mntwana akwazi ukuthi enzelwe izinto zakubo zakhabo baba, bese kuqediwe ukuhlawula and all that, kwenzelwe izinto zakubo zakhabo baba. And abanye abantwana bahamba bengabe futhi utholakale ngaphandle komshado, uthola ukuthi uphethwe amadlozi womabili, then kuye kwenziwe ukuthi wenzelwa ngapha khabo baba enzelwe nangapha khabo mama. Uyayibona lento le, ukuze singathukuthelisi amadlozi, ngoba yonke into thina singayibona sithi kuyiphutha, kanti that was the intention yabantu abadala ukuthi sifuna ukuthi nomntwana atholakale ngendlela kanje ukuze azokwazi ukuseva a certain purpose, uyabo. And I think also kuzofanele kuzoba netopic esizoba nayo ehambiselana nalena engizoyichaza manje, ngoba kuyenzeka like thina sinabantwana thola ukuthi mhlawumbe abantwana abafana abayi4 and ekhabo makoti akunabantwana abafana, bese kuthiwa sizocela ingane eyodwa yokugcina ihambe iyosala nesibongo sakhabo mama ukuze iyohamba iyovuselela lesiya sibongo ukuthi singafi isibongo ezazalwa zizalwa ingane zala ekhaya, uyabo. That's another topic on its own. kodwa ngisaqhubeka la ukuthi mengabe utholakale ngaphandle, mengabe abazali basase together and ubaba wayivuma ipaternity ukuthi cha umntwanakhe, then kuye kwenziwe njalo ukuthi uyahlawula, emva kokuhlawula kuzokwenziwa ke umsebenzi, enzelwa umsebenzi kubo, umsebenzi wembeleko. Mengabe kuyadingakala ukuthi nakhabo mama kwenziwe, nakhona kwenziwe njalo, kodwa kuqala ukuthi kubikwe nje ukuthi bantu abadala bakhabo mama wengane, njengoba nazi ukuthi ubaba wavuma walungisa konke, umntwana uyohamba yothwala isibongo sakubo, uyowazi akenzelwe izinto zakubo. Mengabe umntwana utholakale out of wedlock and lo mntwana ubaba wamphika, ubaba athi akalona, then ekhaya khabo mama uyenzelwa, ebiwe ukuthi cha, njengoba nazi ukuthi-ke ubaba walengane wayiphika ingane wathi akuyona ingane yakhe, thina sesiyamenzela-ke la ekhaya njengomntwana wengane yala ekhaya, sizomenzela-ke ngendlela yala ekhaya njengoba senza ukuthi sibabika kanjani abantwana, senza imbeleko ukuze umntwana naye abe rooted, ngoba akekho umntwana nje untengantengayo. Ukuyayibona lento leyo ngoba mekantengane.
So while Mkhulu is sneezing, you need to know when a child is born out of wedlock, automatically belongs to the maternal side of the family. So kuthiwa umntwana kamalume. So that's why inhlawulo is important, because it's about acknowledging paternity and giving a child a paternal side lineage. It doesn't mean Guti they become unrecognized altogether by amadlozi from that side. But that act of inhlawulo, like we said earlier on, is for the father to say, I am taking responsibility and accountability. That is my child. So when you are together, even when you are together and in a relationship, but you are not married, there still has to be inhlawulo. You know, and in some cultures they will tell you hlawula first then marry after. Some cultures said as hlawulu we do, it's either we do marriage, or when we do inhlawulo it means we are actually just acknowledging the child, and our intentions is not for us to build ubuhlobo with the mother. We're not continuing in relationship. So understand that if there was no nhlawulo done, and when we're speaking about marriage in African culture, we are not speaking about a home affairs. We're not speaking about the Western Union. We're speaking about the African one, because in every step of the marriage, or steps that lead to marriage, the ancestors are informed. When the ancestors are informed, they are then brought together into one family unit. So when that child is born during the Lobola, that child is already recognized from their father's side, because when their father's family side leaves, they have to inform the ancestors that we are going wa Ramalepe, and from Ramalepe sibakwaNdlanzi siyahamba siyocela ubuhlobo obuhle. So we are going with an intention of actually bringing somebody here to expand and grow the family. So that's what I wanted to make clear for people, Uguti, because people can say, oh no, we're still together, or we are married, because we find people who would say we are married, and when we consult them, we're like, but their ancestors don't recognize the union, because how you got married was just, my white wedding. We all were wanting to wear the white dress and do the matrimonial, the Western ways, and then spiritually that marriage or that union is not recognized. That's a topic on another day as well that we need to cover, and why doing things the African way actually helps build strong, solid marriages. And even when you have challenges and difficulties, they can actually help you find your way to each other, because it's no longer just about the two of you, it's about you and a whole entourage of ancestors. So back to Mkhulu, because he was sneezing, that I wanted to clarify that whole thing of inhlawulo. So even when apilonga kubo malume, but if you go and they say umntwana udinga imbeleko, don't just say like, they want nothing to do with the child, we will do it. It is important to inform the father, because when you go and phahla and do the ritual of imbeleko, you need to say we did try with the paternal side and they still refusing paternity, or this is the situation. Because remember, in the ancestral world, there's different kinds of ancestors. There's amatongo, abangaseko, there's amadlozi. So there might be in those different types the other ones that don't want to hear that you are saying. But when you go, and you come back and say we tried, then they can see that indeed you did try. So that's very important. And vele in Xhosa culture, for example, esiXhoseni umntwana wenzela izimbeleko zibe mbili. You can do imbeleko from your mother's side and your father's side. And like we said, it's also we're finding out that in other cultures, nasezulwini, it might be that you're required to be rooted on both sides of the family.
To acknowledge both.
Yes.
Yeah. And kuba khona isimo la umntwana ahambe aphikwa khona.
Yeah.
Meke hambe ubaba amphika, but at a later stage ke ubaba uyabuya ukuthi no siyabona ukuthi no ingane yala ekhaya and kukanjani. Then into yokuqala eyenziwayo before kunga even kukhulunywe ngenhlawulo and all that yomntwana, into yokuqala ubaba okufanele ayenze ukuyogeza umuzi, ahambe awuthela ngenhlamba, ukuyogeza le ntombazane lesi sibeletho sahamba sathwala ingane yaphikwa yathelwa ngecala ukuze kusuke amathunzi amnyama phekwa lengane. Nakuthini uphika uyindoda uphika umntwana kusho ukuthi udelela ngisho nabantu namadlozi akhabo le ntombazane. Uyayibona lento le. Then into yokuqala before kungaze kukhulunywe nje ukuthi uzohlawula umntwana wakho, kufanele nje ukuthi kube yenhlawulo yogeza umuzi. Kugezwa umuzi kuqala before singakwazi ukuthi ke sithi okay senigezile umuzi nize ngani ke yini ke seniyifuna ke, bese ke kuyaqala ke kubekwa lezi zinto zeinhlawulo ukuthi singayenzi izinto bese kubuyela kuthiwa yebo nenza kodwa nanizenzela nje naniyihlabela kwakumnandi kwakuyinto zenu kusafanele niqalile phansi. Uyayibona lento le. And into futhi ehambe ibaluleke ukuthi kwezinye zezinto kuhle ukuthi sihambe siyohlola siyobona ukuthi ngabe abala ekhaya bafuna ukuthi yenziwe kanjani lento, ngoba kungenzeka ukuthi umuntu uyeza bayacela kwenzakalani kanti ithonga selathukuthela ukuthi cha asifuni lutho, ku-right kukanje umntwana akahlale ngapha. Uthole abanye abantu especially when it comes to abantwana babafana yibo ngesinye isikhathi kuhamba izinto zibe complicated kakhulu ukuthi yena afuna ukuthini ayozishintsha isibongo ngoba uthi sengimdala nami sengithola ingane sengifuna ukuyoshada ngifuna ukuyothatha isibongo saka baba. Kubalekile ukuthi uqale la wakhuliswa khona, uqale la wakhuliswa khona kubomalume, ukhulume nawo umndeni. And yes, I understand ukuthi ngesinye isikhathi abekho abanye abazingeni lezi zinto, abanye abathi bangamakholwa bayenziwa, kodwa into ehlala ibalekile ngaso sonke isikhathi engizoyi-emphasize ukuthi the intention in what you are doing iyo into ebalekile. Ukuthi yebo bangaba ukuthi abekho kukanjani kodwa ukuyophahla ukuyocela ukuthi okay ukuyobuza ukuhamba ukuyohlola ukuthi ngiyenze njani ngoba isimo sami sesahamba sabanje ukuze kukwazi ukulandelela all the avenues, all the right passages okufanele zenziwe before kungenziwa okunye. Ukuyayibona lento ngoba ngesinye isikhathi uthola ukuthi yebo kufanele ukuthi umntwana ahamba ayoyenzelwa isiko lakhabo baba, kodwa ubaba yena kakaza afakwa kubo. Usasebenzisa naye isibongo saka ma wakhe. Ukuyayibona noma usebenzisa isibongo saka gogo ozala uma wakhe. Then ukuyayibona ukuthi lento ke seyihamba iba yini, ehamba kuba umsebenzi omningi. Then but mekuhamba kuyohlola kuyocheckiswa kahle izinto kubonakala ukuthi okay elala ekhaya lise ithonga lifuna kanjani, ngoba ngesinye isikhathi mekuhamba ucela ukuthi akunabani amathonga ngesinye isikhathi namadlozi bayeza nakuwe ephupheni bakubonisa indlela. Abanye baba nenhlanhla ukuthi limbonise ukuthi sifuna ukuthi niyokwenza ngale ndlela and menenza ngale ndlela kube usibanibani oyokhuluma ekhuluma emsamo ecela ngale ndlela nangendlela kuthathwe izinto ezikanje nezikanje. Abanye basebenzisa inkukhu, abanye basebenzisa imvu, abanye basebenzisa imbuzi. Then landelela lokhu kini abakwenzayo ngoba kubalekile ukulandelela isiko lakini, ilona eliyohamba likwenzeni likulekelela, hayi isiko langa noma ubani. Yizo izinto ezihamba zilekelele. Then this is just i-general knowledge ukuthi kungahamba kuncedakale ku these avenues.
Okay, tribe members, we're not doing dreams. Please don't ask us about dreams. So the question that I'm just making a note of the question, because what happens is that we miss them because unlike Lentuzana, they go also very fast here. So Uti Utane, my father paid Lobola while my mom was already pregnant. Okay, I wanted to actually read that one because it was here, but I've got other ones here. Was already pregnant. Intlawulo iyadingeka lapho gogo nomkhulu. Well, you see, like we already explained, but it's up to what your family also decides and their own cultural practices because muz no muz awufani. Bakakhumalo nabakandlanza bayenza izinto ngokufana, even though they can be both Zulu and Gunis. Right? So some people will say, no, we actually paying Lobola because we realize that now we've done this. And abanye babati, no, but we want inkomo. And inkomo is not an actual cow. Inkomo, it's about the token, right? It symbolizes the token of acknowledgement, of appreciation, of asking. So inkomo yokuthi already you've done this. Inkomo it is because sometimes when we look at how people have misinterpreted inkomo kamama, inkomo kabani, if we don't understand the significance of these things, that's why it is also making it difficult for people to get married because it feels like there's so much money that's needed into this. But it was tokens of things, and we live in the times where we don't have cattle that we owned. So when we're speaking about inkomo can even be 100 rand, inkomo can even be 500 rand, inkomo can be even 5,000 rand. That showcases that na inkomo ezokhokha lezinto so we cannot say to you, was that done right or was that done wrong? If that in your family it was accepted because my lobola was paid when I was pregnant. I was already pregnant with Spusiso, and that was an agreement that the family, Bagwantlanzi and my own family agreed to. That's sufficient. So we can also, we're giving general advice and general guidance here. We are not actually, we're teaching to make you understand why certain things are important, but we're not teaching to eradicate or override or dictate how your own family practices should go about. Stepfather performing in Belego says that my dad passed away a long time ago, and can my stepfather, do Imbelego for me? The other one says my dad wants me to change to his surname. And then what about adopted children? What happens to the children that we've adopted? Which one do you want to take?
Okay, Thokoza. Ukungena ngizothi ngizoshaya amanqampu almost wonke. Ukungena I think ukule ubaba afuna ukushintsha isibongo. I think we've touched nje kancane ukuthi ubaba usefuna ukushintsha isibongo, and then nakhona kuya ngokuthi ushintshisa umntwana isibongo kuya ngokuthi at this moment is isimo se-relationship yakhabo baba nakhabo mama asinjani. Are they together or sebadala bahlukane? It's just that ukuthi manje njengoba sowukhulile sekafuna ukwenzela izinto, then kuqalwa ekuqaleni njengoba I think inkulumo yami endlule ihambe yathinta futhi ezinye zezinto. Kuqalwa ekuqaleni ukuthi-ke kwakwenzakalani, what is the history. Uyabona ukuthi-ke kuyahamba mhlambe ukuthi yebo bahlukana kodwa ubaba wayelapho all along, then kuyokhipha leyo nhlawulo leyo ukuyolungisa izinto. Kodwa into ebalulekile engifuna ukuyistressa kakhulu engihluphayo ukuthi kuyo yonke into ezenziwayo, all the rituals ezenziwayo, sibeka ithonga phambili, sibeka abantu abadala, abanye babiza bathi idlozi phambili. Into ebalulekile ukuyophahla ukuthi bantu abadala abakwasibanibani bazile bezocela isimo esikanje njengoba benazi ukuthi isimo somntwana sikanje nakanje. Kubikwe ukuthi njengoba sekukanje-ke thina sikhulumile nabo, sakhulumisana saze safika kwisimo sokuthi sivumelana kanje. Niyavuma na? Uyayibona lento, the intention yiyo ebalulekile, and nokuyophahla ukuthi kwaziswe lamadlozi lawa ukuthi isimo sesiyaguquka, umntwana simise esibongweni sobaba wakhe. Sebehambe bavela bashiya lokhu, bashiya nalokhu la ekhaya. Njengoba thina sikwamukelile bese sithi nathi singabantwana abaphilayo emhlabeni siyaxola ngawo wonke amaphutha abawenza. Sesicela nakunina ukuthi-ke xolani-ke nibhodle ukuthi umntwana nimvumele ukuze kuhambe kahle empilweni yakhe, ngoba konke sikwenzela le ngane ukuthi ihambe nayo iphile, ibe indoda noma ibe umfazi oqotho oyokwazi ukuthi naye aphile impilo yakhe, angalibele alandelelwe amashwa namabhadi, angalibele alahlekelwa iy'nhlanhla zakhe. Yabo. And then eka stepfather nakhona isimo kufanele sisazisise kahle ukuthi isimo ustepfather kungene kanjani, njengoba yebo ubaba washona ngoba into nento inento indlela eyayo eyenzeka ngakhona, and fanele silandelele ukuthi-ke kuze kube nobaba ongenayo sengena esefuna ukwenzela ingane imbeleko, ufike le ngane ibingakanani empilweni bekafika lo baba, uyabo ukuthi besazi ama-details ngokugcwele,
We can then advise.
siyakwazi nathi uku-advise kahle ngoba isimo siyazizwisisa ukuthi isimo sikanje, kodwa mesazi nje just kuthathwa inkulumo ithathelwa phezulu, asikwazi ukuchaza kahle inkulumo ukuthi-ke kufanele ukuthi ibe njani.
So basically, some questions are not yes or no. Yes, your stepfather can do it. No, he can't do it. What you need to also realize, Guti, when you had a father and your father was married to your mother, whatever happens to your mother and father, you are a child of your father. So your mother can't even take you and get married again and change your surname. That's going to be a problem. You will always carry your father's surname. And that's what happens, and that's what we've seen a lot of times when women move and they change because they want their children not to feel like they are outcasted. But they do have a paternal lineage. And we cannot take that away for the convenience of us staying in marriages and making our new husbands feel comfortable and feel like they are the fathers of those children. Yes, they will play a fatherly role, but nobody can ever replace your father. No one, not even your grandfather. And that's why that carries such huge traumas for children who were not raised by their fathers, because no one can ever replace a mother or a father's love, no matter how much you've loved, because in our nature we thrive with being loved by a mom and a dad. So please do understand that we cannot advise that no, they can do it, because they might not even share your lineage, right? And if you were raised by your stepfather and your father never acknowledged paternity, did your stepfather also acknowledge you and request to you, so adopt you as traditionally as well? Because so meaning that I am marrying you and I understand that you've got a child, so I take in tata nonke, I'm willing to step into the role of the father. It's not replacing the father, because should your father come back, your father has to go to your stepfather and give thanks and acknowledgement for raising their child. So the ntlawulo process that your father would need to do will have to be done to the stepfather, who's already taken you as their own. So these things are not straightforward. Things of spirituality are quite complex, because it also depends on the type of family. And that's why we always would advise to you to say, when it's like this, even with the changing of surname, with the clients I work with, when they're telling me, I'm like, let's consult. Let's ask the ancestors and how best to do it, because we do it from the top of our head and how we understand it, we mess things up. We need to also ask, because there's something in rituals called ugyoshweleza, unxenxeza. It's an appeasement of pleading where there were mishaps, where there were shortfalls, where things were not done right. And sometimes before something needs to be done right, we need to address the mishaps. We need to shweleza first, because we can do everything and follow the right kinds of procedures, but there are mishaps that happen prior that will actually deem the ritual that's supposed to be performed null and void. So kuba ukuthi ngayenzela imbeleko and my things got worse, because you don't understand there are ancestral discourses, and maybe they stopped imbeleko, or they didn't want to take their paternal side of the family surnames, because every son who took their father's surname in that family died. So by you taking it, not taking it, they were protecting you. So things are not black or white. They are not red or green. They're red and green. So that's how complex Africa, the spiritual world is. And with adoption, I remember this is what Malume said, because I wanted to have 12 children and I knew that I can't carry 12. So I said, well, I want to have 12 children and maybe we can adopt 6, and now we've got lots of children. We've got lots of children, lots. So I see where that was coming from. So, and he said, yes, definitely you can. Because let's say you're adopting a child, and a lot of times with us, we'll adopt within the family. There would also be a ritual that actually introduced the child to the new family, to the adopted family. And iyakhulunywa into emsamo kuba neqiniso ukuthi this is the child and this is where the child comes from. And if you don't know, because maybe their parents, if it's from an agency, wanted their identity to be hidden, do say that asibazi kodwa siyithandile lengane njengoba thina sihluleka ukuthi sibe neyethu, sicela amathonga la ekhaya amamkele njengenzalo yethu. So may the ancestors of this home please welcome this child, and then this child gets given a name and then carries the surname of the family that they've been adopted with. So it doesn't mean these processes are not, they can be tedious if you don't understand the significance of it. They can be overburdening if you don't understand, because we do things first to understand how is that going to serve. How is that going to serve me as a person who's participating, my ancestors who are asking for me, my family, my community, the collective? Because service is not always just appeasing the ancestors at your own expense. It's about all of us, because when all of us are served, then we are able to be of service to each other as well. So that's what I wanted to say. I don't know if there's any more questions, but my energies are low because I was working the whole afternoon. I can hear. I don't know if you want to take one more question and we wrap it up.
Yeah, we can take one more.
Yeah.
And see.
Yes, we're gonna save this so you can also watch it. And you know, it's so interesting because it looks like every time we have a topic, it births another topic. It gives birth to another topic. And do also, you know, give us some topic suggestions, especially of the ones we have not covered. Please remember to like, subscribe, and put your notifications on, because next week Thursday you can give us a topic suggestion for next week Thursday. Okay, I love watching here. Who else? Okay, I don't know who they're talking about. That they, yes, they love watching. Okay, go down. Okay, that's how my grandmother lost her surname. How would you go about fixing it, because she doesn't even know where her father is from? I think, like we said, that if you have no way of connecting with your father, you become umntwana kamalume. So you take your maternal side of the surname. And also, please understand that some parents do know who the father is. It's just that how you are conceived carries a tragedy and it's traumatic. And they withhold that information so that you don't get re-traumatized. We do know that, you know, we know that rape exists, we know that incest exists. So sometimes you find out that your father is actually somebody in the family and they're not telling you, because should they tell you, it's gubangati, you know, now you are cursed, baktelang. So they withhold certain information, not because they want to keep it a secret, but they are trying to protect you. Is it the best decision? Maybe not, but maybe. So do understand that our parents do the best they can with what they know. It's not intentional. Sometimes they keep it because your father is a married man and they were having an affair. And they can't say it because it's going to bring shame to the mother. Therefore, you will also carry the shame, because we pass on the trauma from one generation to the other. Okay, yeah. No, I think they're engaging with someone. Because somebody was trying to get a dream, and I said we're not doing dream interpretations here. Yeah. Is there a time limit to imbeleko? That's an interesting one. I had mine when I was 23.
No, there's no time limit to imbeleko. However, kuhle ukuthi abantwana benzelwe izimbeleko basasebancane, uyabona, so that bangakhuli bahlupheka ngenxa yokuthi abakho grounded. And yes, ngesinye isikhathi uthola ukuthi abanye bathola ngesimo sabantu abadala sebebedala, uyabona, like umuntu ukhula in a Christian background, azenziwa lezi zinto, but it doesn't mean ukuthi wena mosomdala angeke wayenzelwa mengabe soyabona. No, izinto azilungu ngoba nakho kwahamba kwalahleka ekhaya, sekufanele ukuthi kulungiswe uyenzelwa izinto. Kunabanye izinto zibe to the push ukuthi kufanele enzele imbeleko ngisho sekashadile.
Yeah.
Ukabo, then it's different stroke for different folks. Uyayibona lento le ukuthi kwenzakala kanjani, but akuna time limit. But kuhle mengabe abantwana abakho ubatholile basasebancane, ubenzele basasebancane. Mengabe sebekhulile and you've got a change of heart ukuthi bengingazi ukuthi imithetho ihamba kanjani, nakhona it's never too late ukuthi ubenzele abantwana, so that nabo ezinye zezinto zabo zikwazi ukuthi zikhanye, zikwazi ukuthi zivuleke izindlela. And sometimes ukwenzela umntwana mhlambe naye sekanabantwana thola ukuthi kuyohamba kuyolekelela ngisho nakubazukulu bakhe. Ukuyibona lento le akuna time frame ekhona.
Yeah, but I think the first year of a child's life, the first 2 years of a child's life are important.
Yeah.
Because that's the foundation. So now that you know, don't wait to know whenever, because if you don't do it in the early years, it means that they might really struggle. And children who don't have imbeleko done, because they're not rooted, they actually easily influence, they succumb to peer pressure, they find themselves in unexplainable troubles, they attract misfortunes because they don't have ancestral protection. Because when you're in Belego, you're actually creating a community of safety. So they have warriors watching over them. They have a strong sense of discernment when they're growing up. They're not easily influenced. I'm not saying that for sure, but they are not easily influenced. And I've seen it. I've seen it with me. I've seen it with my brother. And even though we did in Belego, but he was much older and he struggled to get out of trouble because certain behaviors leave an imprint that just by doing imbeleko does not stop a person from misbehaving. So the elder we and children do tell us as well. Usbusiso told us by 7 months,
Yeah, 7, 8 months.
7, 8 months, and we did for one, but all of our children, by the time they were about 2.5 years, they all had their mbelekos done, and all of them had their own goat. So I would say, and you don't know how long you've got, because our assumption is we're gonna leave till when we all hoping. So don't allow for your children to go through the same challenges that you've went through. You know, now that you know, prioritize it. It's very important. It's giving a child a solid and strong foundation. And if one has not been done for you, then speak to someone. If you have no one left in your family, let's say this is extreme. Aksana Muntekaya, there's no elders. You seek somebody who carries the same name as you, surname. So you seek for a Kumalo if you're a Kumalo. If you are Umxhosa and Ngamapondo say, but if you Majola, you seek for the Majola clan, an elder there, somebody can. And if you still don't have any directive, you go to Izangoma, because remember, Izangomas are given to be intermediaries between us and the ancestors, so they can actually really help. You know, they can help you perform certain rituals, even for those batuya bangwa, because I saw somebody that saying bangwa matlozi. If ubangwa matlozi and the other ones are saying this and this, there are processes to be done to align them and to get them to work together. Kuna process la kukhunga khona matlozi. Ukukhunga is a way of saying I see, I honor, I accept, right? So it's like, yes, we honor that this child was raised by you, but we are also asking to be part ingxenye yomntwana, because we are also a sperm that fertilized the egg. So please don't exclude us. So that's why it's important, you know, for, I mean, in our African, Asian Africa, each family had an African spiritual healer. They had a seer. They had someone where even before they decided to be pregnant, they would actually say asbon ukuthi amadlozi athini or amathongo athini. So those things were very important. So we will be back here again on YouTube next week Thursday, hey?
Yeah.
We will ask people just to give us topic suggestions, or we will also see what are the topics that have come up. If we don't have any strong ones, we will just see. Remember to subscribe, share the video. I'm hearing that the other one is saved. Great one. So we're going to also save this one. And yeah, and we know these topics will have part twos, because we actually got to the foundations and the basics. But thank you so much, and thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for having the dances in your home.
Thokoza, siyabonga kakhulu ngesikhathi senu and nokuparticipate ukuba nathi. Siyazibongela kakhulu isikhathi enisinika sona and ne-feedback siyabonga kakhulu kusibonga kukho konke ngoba nakho lokho kuyasigqugquzela kuyasikhulisa nathi kusenza ukuthi nathi to look forward into the next weekend ukuthi sibe nani ngiyayibona lento nathi kusenza ukuthi nathi sihambe siyovuselela sambe siyobuza kwezinye izinto amanye ama-topic because okunye sikuthola kubantu abadala okunye sikuthola kubadala laba abasaphila ukuthi izinto ezikanje zenziwa njani kodwa ngokuthi nina niyasivuselela siyazibongela kakhulu for i-support and everything. Thokozani.
We're gonna we out.